On Spotify. There we go. Good morning. It's me and your gamer girlfriend. Today we are finally putting together the walking mushroom plush. Let me scoot that back a bit. So I've got the legs, I've got the body, I've got the cap, and I've got a whole bunch of spots to go on the cap. I've also got some armature wire and wire tools so that I can make a skeleton for this guy. Let's get started. I have the spot basically where I want it. I'm going to cut the tail a little bit closer. Which needle do I want? Probably this one. I'm going to use backstitch on the spots so they're nice and clean. Trying to make sure I don't get the tail too caught up on this side. Ugh. I think I might just cut that short too. Because that's getting in my way. Okay. Just did here? Okay. So I'm going to go here. So fun fact, I used to hate backstitch. I never saw the point of it. But turns out it's really good for plushies, especially for appliquing things onto plushies. Especially because you can actually work it from just the one side. So you can just scoop. Like this. You don't actually need to go all the way through the fabric, and work on the backside like I was. and it makes a very neat little seam right here that you can barely see. And it doesn't alter the edge of the piece, which is really important for crochet appliques. Make sure to tuck that tail under there. Don't need him to be showing. I thought about putting Beanie Baby beans in the feet so that it would be even more stable, but I don't think I actually want to do that. Because that would mean I would have to line the feet because the gauge is too loose for Beanie Baby beans. They would slip between the stitches, and I don't really feel like dealing with fabric today. Or at least not like woven fabric. Crochet fabric is fine. So we'll see how much structure the skeleton gives him. And if he can stand, awesome. If not, I can pose him sitting. Either way, he should be able to at least sit up on his own, maybe stand. Almost lost the tail there. Okay, first spot done. I can go to this side, loop it through the stitches a couple times so I can secure it. One more time. It's good grippy wool, so this isn't going to be coming undone anytime soon. Okay, what spot do I want to work on next? Pull up my little image of the layout that I made. Line him up. What goes there? I think I'll do this one next. Oh, sorry guys. Okay, so according to my schematic, this spot gets lined up over here, near the edge. Now this one's big enough that I am probably going to pin it in a couple spots. Pinning crochet is hard because you have to make sure you go through like the middle of the yarn, because if you get it between the stitches, the pin heads are usually too small and they'll just slide right out. Okay. Hey Morphman, good to see you again. How are you doing today? I'm doing good. I'm glad to finally be putting this thing together. Glad you're doing okay. I hope you get to do something fun today. Oh, fun. I usually don't do horror games, but I know Resident Evil has a lot of really cool characters. Ah, and threaded my yarn. Oh, okay. Oh, just throwing Henrietta every which way today. Sometimes I really like hand sewing like this. It makes me feel like that scene from Howl's the Moving Castle where Sophie is sewing the hats. It's added to the fact that this feels like a beret. A mushroom beret would be really cute. Yeah, the slow TV, just chillin' vibes. It's the second time that spot has tried to sneak over. Ow, I forgot there was a pin in there. This is much easier to do before stuffing the thing. I've made the mistake of putting appliques on after stuffing. Sometimes you just like can't do it any other way because you have to see how the thing fits together before like centering the face. But I'm glad the spots don't have to be super precise or relative to the other body parts. Okay, I think we can ditch this pin now. Oh, I playing yarn chicken here. Not sure I made the tail long enough. I need to get a chicken to go with Henrietta so I can have a frogging frog and a yarn chicken chicken. Might just make it. If I don't, I can probably borrow the tail from another spot. Oh yeah, there's no way. Ah, I shouldn't have cut the tail from the middle of this. I could have used that. Come on. There we go. Still didn't catch the whole thread. There we go. Okay. You know what? I'm actually going to weave that in with the crochet hook, so I don't have to thread the needle a million times. Okay. Let's strategize. What spot can I put there? Okay, so I can do this spot next. And it's a little spot with a big long tail. And he's supposed to go right over here. And I'll point it so that I end the right way, and then I can just take this tail over. Yeah. I'm felting the end of my yarn a little bit to get it to thread through the needle easier. It's not really cooperating though. Okay. And this spot is going to come over here. Yeah. So this one goes right here. So now I know, don't cut the middle tails on the big spots until I know I have enough thread to sew them on. I thought I was being so generous with those tails. Forgot that backstitch eats yarn. I'm surprised we don't have anyone on the cat cam today. Hopefully they'll show up later. So I don't think this tail's actually going to have enough to go help the other spot. So I'm just going to tie this one off here. Because it definitely does not have enough to make it over to the problem area and help. What I'm going to do instead is just grab a fresh piece. It's only a small defeat. Okay. And I'm just going to tie these together. That one's getting in the way. Okay. We've got 3 spots on, 4 to go. Changed my blinds because the sun is hitting me in the eyes. Okay. Have it rotated like this in my picture. This is a little different from how I have it in my layout, but I think I like it better like this. I'm going to rotate him too. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to pin it. Uh-oh. Where'd my needle go? Got him. Wow! A raid! Thank you guys. Thank you. I gotta join that Discord. So drop a link for me so I can join after the stream. Thank you. We are working on a plushie inspired by the walking mushroom from Delicious in Dungeon. I made all the parts over the last 2 weeks, and now I'm putting him together. And this is Henrietta, my frogging frog. She helps when it is time to rip it, aka frog. I accidentally set myself up to be playing lots of yarn chicken with the tails I left myself to sew on the spots. So we'll find out if I have enough on this tail. It feels longer than the others, so I'm hoping so. I'm doing backstitch to sew the spots on because it makes a very clean seam and it doesn't mess with the edges of the applique. And it's super strong. Yeah. Thanks for the link. I'll make sure to join after the stream. Yep, Henrietta has coffee and I have coffee. It's great. Speaking of hydration break. Yeah, I've also been crocheting for about 20 years, and I started out with stuffed animals. I didn't really have the attention span to do anything else, so they've kind of always been my specialty. I didn't actually finish any really big projects like sweaters or blankets until I started working remotely during the pandemic, and I had like enough free time and mental energy to do it. But plushies has always been my favorite thing to do. Although I quite like socks now too. Oh, cool. Yeah, blankets is a great place to start. I am a bit of a psychopath who has made 2 blankets out of sock yarn now. They take actual years to make because I like big blankets, but I don't really like worsted weight blankets. They get too warm and you can't use them very much. So yeah, I've made 2 rainbowy sock yarn blankets. Still technically working on the border of one of them. It's actually the one in my banner with the orange and white kitty on it. Oh wow. Okay, so I'm not the only crazy person who does fingering weight blankets. audiobooks are really good for when you're crocheting something like that. Because it keeps my hands and eyes free so I can go really fast, but I still have something to listen to. That's how I got through all of the Wheel of Time books, which are super fun. I'm trying to get through everything that's out for the Brandon Sanderson stuff before I go to Dragonsteel in December. I finally got through Arcanum Unbounded. That was a good time. Yeah, I also can't use warm blankets at night. If I overheat, I get nightmares. Looks like we're getting a bit more glare. Let me fix that. Unfortunately, the sun hits my desk right at the time that I usually want to stream. We won't have that problem in a couple months, though. And I can ditch this pin. We've gone enough around that I don't need it to hold the piece in place. I love warm blankets during the day, just not at night. I have one blanket that I absolutely love that's super fluffy. That for some reason makes it so I don't get as motion sick while watching games. Because something in my motion processing part of my brain is messed up and I get very motion sick while watching first person games. But that blanket basically doubles the amount of time I can watch something that's going to make me motion sick. Just a fun little cheat code. I also really like to gift blankets. Like nowadays, blankets are my go-to wedding gift. In fact, the rainbow blanket that I'm working on was supposed to be a wedding gift. It is now going to be a 5-year anniversary present. Oh, that's pretty chilly. But I've heard that's good for you. Like you're supposed to sleep in a cold room. I just can't sleep if my nose is cold. And I don't like burying my head in the blankets because then I can't breathe. Yeah. I'm still working on making my platonic ideal of a blanket. It needs to be heavy, breathable, and cool, but also like a little bit like it needs to have the capacity to be warm, especially if I layer it. I have a pretty good candidate as one of my projects coming up that I'm going to work with essentially a fingering or sport weight linen, cotton, and bamboo blend, and I'm going to use Tunisian crochet to try and get that weight right. Oh, nice. Well, I have a cat for that, so I don't need a heated pad. Ooh, that sounds like a fun one. Yeah, I only need my feet warm though, usually, when I'm going to bed. Like that's the part of me that gets the most cold. And I didn't quite leave myself enough yarn to weave this in with the needle, so I'm going to use the crochet hook. Come on, friend. There we go. Pretty happy with that. Halfway through the spots. I think I'm going to do a big one next. So the next big one says it should be here. And the small one gets put somewhere off center here. But, I don't know. Things are shifting just enough that I don't know if I think I like it better over here. Although that's essentially the same. I could also always make another spot. I think I like this. So these can go away. This one can get pinned. So I've recently lost a lot of weight, and the main thing that I notice is that my feet get so cold right now. Like they get so cold so quickly. So I've been trying to mass produce socks for myself. And I've been making lots of very thick socks out of like worsted and DK yarn. And those have helped a lot. I've also started on my holiday crafting, which for those of you who craft your holiday presents, you know you got to start in August. It helps that my birthday is in August. So like when my birthday comes along, I'm like, okay, time to start making stuff. This mushroom will probably end up as a present once he's done. And once I have the pattern written up. Eventually, I might sell my finished pieces in my store, but it's really hard to get paid even minimum wage for something this complex, which is why I usually only sell patterns. But if you also crochet, the pattern for this guy will be available on my store within the next couple of weeks. I need to make sure to keep this thread loose so I can use that to sew on the cap later. It's kind of getting in the way though. Okay. Got him untangled. Hello, Practical Porsche. Those are some fun Star Wars emojis. I once tried to make a Baby Yoda plush, but I ran out of steam on the ears. Oh, we're doing yarn chicken again. I think this one will make it though. I accidentally caught that thread. Last stitch for the spot. Okay. Now we just bind that off. Okay, we got 3 spots left and 2 of them are small. But I'm going to do the big one first. Just fit him in. Right like that. For some reason this one is significantly bigger than the other one. I think I like this the best. Or can go down here. Okay, yeah, that's a little better. Go ahead and pin this down. Ow. Got my finger a bit. There we go. This one has a very generous tail. Did it again. There we go. I think I underestimated how long these spots would take to sew on. But we are getting there. Okay, just the last two little spots left. Yeah, I think they just go here and here. The angle on this one is a little awkward because of the brim underneath. Okay, on to the last spot, which goes right here. The hell is that? The big freaking knot is what that is. Okay. There we go, got it resolved. Okay, so I'm going to trim this closer so that it doesn't become a problem again. All right, all done putting spots on the mushroom cap. Looks pretty good, nice and random, nice and scattered, just like in the reference. I think the next step is going to be to put the legs on the body. Just the white parts, though. Thankfully, there aren't spots on the feet. Okay, normally I would do this after stuffing, but I need to put an armature in here. That feels right. Let me just pull up the reference pic, though. Yeah, they're pretty far out to the edge. Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and start him here. Yeah, and I want this to be on the back. So I think I'm gonna attach it over here. Okay. I'm gonna do this part in whip stitch, which is my standard for appendages. Oh, this is gonna be so tricky without stuffing. Hmm. I think I will actually stuff the leg at least, just to give me a little bit of structure to work with. Okay. Getting real, getting the fiberfill out. Because I want this to at least stay circular while I'm trying to sew them on. And I'm pretty sure that the wire can just go through this later. Okay. Get him lined up. Yeah, that's a lot better. It's a lot of cat hair on this already. It's working. It's hard to remember to make sure that I'm holding it where you guys can see instead of right up in my own face. Okay, I think that leg is good. And bring this is one advantage of not having the whole thing stuffed. Can weave in the end over here. And because that's going to be stuffed, I can just leave that. We have one leg. I'll stuff the other one, at least temporarily. Okay, and then I'm gonna put him on symmetrically. and then pin it in place. This is my best trick for plushies. To get the limbs symmetrical, you pin them in place before you start sewing. It's okay. Okay. I think it needs to move back a little though. Let's try that. Unfortunately, it's hard to pin the leg without moving it in the process. So I just kind of go for it and then see. Yeah, that's pretty good. Again, I think it still needs to be further back. See, we've got the little mushroom booty happening. Yeah. Dance is not quite right yet. Okay. That feels better. Oh, he almost stands up on his own. I don't know if he's gonna even need the armature. Already he's pretty sturdy. Okay. Sew this on. I'm skipping the chain row because it's quite loose. So if I just sew to the chain row, there's gonna be like a line of holes. Okay, much nicer first stitch than on the other leg. For me, this is one of the trickiest parts of doing a plushie. It's attaching the limbs symmetrically. So far, so good. Pinning definitely helps. Also being consistent about what part of the stitches I'm sewing into. Makes them look nice and uniform. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna get a wire skeleton actually. 2, 3. Oh, we're not exactly symmetrical from the bottom. And try and pull the leg in a little bit. I could try and at least keep the same number of rows between the leg and the center of the base. Sometimes it's not in the cards though. I don't like that last stitch. Okay, that's better. Oops, sorry. Tapped the camera a bit. Oh, we got another spam bot. We only want organic viewers on this stream. I'm not gonna pay to win on Twitch. The legs are looking good. Now I gotta decide what step I want to do next. I think probably the feet. So, the edges of the feet on the white and the red should technically have the same number of stitches. So this should be really easy. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, I think he's going to stand up just fine on his own once these are stuffed. I'm going to make sure the stuffing's all the way in there. Okay. So we're going to line up the end of the rows. It's a little tricky. I'm leaving that white end later. Just going to whip stitch these together. Stitch for stitch. And once I have about one side left, I'll put the stuffing in. Yep, we're lining up. The increases are lining up with the decreases on each side, like the math is working out. And the cap is folding over just like I was hoping it would. Playing yarn chicken again, but I think we're gonna make it. Okay, I've done 5 out of 6 of the sides. I'm gonna go ahead and stuff this. Grab the little piece that I had left over first. I'm only gonna lightly stuff this, because I want it to be kind of nice and squishy, so it can act like a foot. And also I don't want to make this too poofy because it's supposed to be pretty flat. I mean, that feels about right to me. Yeah. All right, time to close them up. Okay. And we're gonna weave in this end, which is easy to do on crochet because there's lots of layers of loops. You don't have to worry about the fabrics or keeping it stretch either. So I'm going to stick this in. So I'm happy that it's pretty secure. Pull it kind of tight so that when I cut it, it smushes back into the stuffed part. Okay, time to hide this end. There we go. One mushroom foot done. I'm loving the shape of that. It's exactly what I wanted. See, we've got rounded cap that flares a little bit at the edges. Gives me great hopes for the top. It would certainly help if I was trying to thread the eye side of the needle, not the stabby side. Okay. stitch to stitch because they have the same number. He looks much nicer with his shoes on. He'll look very fancy with his hat. Oh, I must have pushed Henrietta off frame at some point. Whoops. Okay, time to stuff this foot. Doesn't take much. Because we want to keep it pretty flat. Okay, I'm going to check by squishing both of them. They feel about the same. I think we're good. Yeah, they have the same amount of give. So we can close this one up. Get that out of the way. Stuffing is coming out through the stitching. I'm trying to prevent as much stuffing showing on the outside because it shines weird compared to the yarn. There we go. Okay, and to weave in that end. That's a really big long end on that one. Better too long of a tail than too short, though. Okay. Time to hide this one. Oh, come on. Split. Kind of split on that one, but I was able to salvage it. Okay. Time to hide this thread. There we go. Got some mushroom feet. Apparently the tastiest part of the mushroom. Time to stuff the body and attach the cap. He's pretty stable. Nice. If you're making a cat toy, at this point you can also mix catnip into the stuffing, and they love that. I want to make the body pretty nice and firm. I'm also not going to stuff it all the way because I still need to put the cap on. And I'm going to use the same sort of process for the cap where I don't stuff it until it's mostly sewn around because it's going to be a weird container and not actually be able to hold stuff for a while. There we go, we got that nice mushroom booty. Did the shaping right on that. And it definitely will sit up on its own. I don't know if he'll stand, but he kind of wants to. And then I did the same thing with the map here and here, where the stitches should be exactly the same. So it should just be 1-to-1, super easy to sew on. This is the beginning of the row, and this is the beginning of the row. I left a pretty enormous tail on this one, but we'll see if it's enough to go all the way around. Because this is a lot of stitches. I just realized OBS hasn't been capturing the music this whole time. Whoops. It's probably because I restarted my computer and it reset the output device. There we go. This is what y'all should have been hearing the whole time. Whoops. I should make myself a checklist of everything to check before I go live. No wonder people weren't sticking around after the raid. It probably gets very boring with no audio. No background music. Okay, we're about a third of the way sewing on the hat. Doesn't really want to sit. But it definitely looks like the dungeon meshy one. we're nearing the home stretch. Oh, thanks. Well, I made it very easy for myself because these have matching stitch counts. So I just go 1 for 1 in each V on each edge. Yeah. Also, in order to get limbs placed symmetrically, I use sewing pins to pin them on first. That way they don't move. So I pinned most of the spots too while I was working on them. You just have to make sure you go through the yarn instead of like around the stitches, otherwise sewing pin heads usually just slip right through the crochet fabric. Thank you! It is the walking mushroom from Delicious in Dungeon. Oh yeah, fair. I started out making plushies when I was learning how to crochet because I didn't have the patience for larger projects. I also do a lot of cosplay though, so I also do the garment making side of things as well. And knitting. After I finish this, I'm going to be making the hat from Firefly. Yes, I do lots of cosplay. My most impressive ones are Priestess from Goblin Slayer and Good King Mogglebog the 12th from Final Fantasy XIV. Thank you. Yeah, I love cosplaying. It's super fun. You get to do all sorts of crafts. I've been working on incorporating more crochet and knitting into my cosplays. So this year I'm going to Dragonsteel. There is a ball at that convention, and so part of my ball gown will be hand crocheted lace, which I will be working on this channel at some point. I'm very excited to go to a real ball in a pretty princess dress that I have made myself. With a partner too, so that's exciting. Yeah, definitely like living out my childhood fantasies of being a pretty princess. I will also be cosplaying 2 different characters from the Brandon Sanderson books, because it's a Brandon Sanderson specific convention. Yeah! Wow, Dragonsteel is coming up! It is in December, it's in Salt Lake City. I'm going to be traveling for it because I don't live in Salt Lake. But I am really excited to go. The ball is going to be themed around Adolin and Shalon's wedding from the Stormlight Archive, if you are familiar with the series. Oh yeah! The Kickstarter ones are really good too. Tress and Yumi are my favorites. They're just really sweet. If you like The Princess Bride, you will love Tress. Oh, I love how that's turning out. Okay, time to stuff the hat. Yeah, read Tress. Tress of the Emerald Sea. It's a really good one. Okay, so it needs more stuffing in the body too. Body needs to be firmer. Oh. Flung my thread up and around the camera. That's a new one. I don't want to overstuff the hat because I want it to stay kind of flat. Did all that fancy shaping work. Him to stay mushroom shaped. Okay, I think I'll do a little bit more sewing and then stuff this edge a little bit later into the process. But I'm so happy with how the gills turned out. The texture is really cool. Yes, they are front post double crochets. I did a lot of math to make them line up and repeat nicely while doing increases. And if you crochet, I'm going to be selling the pattern for this on my Etsy once I write it up. So you too can have your very own walking mushroom. But we're calling him a Meandering Mycelium because he has to be legally distinct. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I will definitely make an announcement when he is up in the store. I think it's so funny. So far, my best-selling pattern is the weird bird. That's also from Dungeon Meshi. Like every single one of my sales except for one has been the weird bird pattern. Just closing up the last little bit now, though I need to stuff that a little bit more. Oh, thank you! My cats also love that mouse. This pattern is going to be significantly more difficult than those ones though. Those ones just have like single crochets and shaping. With the front post double crochets, I think I'm going to have to list this one as like an advanced or expert pattern. I also did funny things in order to turn the corners here. Uh-oh. My tablet overheated. Now I have to look over my shoulder to keep up with chat. So I don't think I quite did the math right on this one because I had to double up on a couple stitches. Alright, that is the last stitch of that. I'm going to try and squish them so the stuffing goes out to the edges. Yeah. There we go. Nice and mushroomy. Now I can just hide the end. So I usually go through a couple of stitches because crochet has a whole bunch of loops in each stitch as compared to knitting. So you can hide the threads inside the stitches, but then I also will just go through the body of the plushie, pull it a little bit tight so that when I cut the end, it springs back into the stuffing and you can't tell where the end is. And there he is in all his glory, the Meandering Mycelium mushroom plushie. Thank you. Yeah. That was all I had planned for the stream today. I'm gonna go find us someone to raid. Oh, one of my favorites is streaming right now, so we're gonna go get her. So you don't get double sound. It was lovely to meet you too. I hope we get to see lots more of you. There we go. Let's get ready to raid.